again, book lovers! It's me, Raimskie, and welcome to another book review for 2021. And this time, I will be trying my best to briefly talk about and review A Meeting of Prophets by Judah Tassa. First things first, this book is, I guess, or as far as I can remember, this book is the very first independently published book that I have ever read, I guess. I don't know, because I can't remember if I have read an independently published book before, but as far as I can remember, this is the very first one. Okay, so I have to be completely honest with you guys that it took me a bit long to read this book, like more than a week, because this book gets too philosophical for my tastes, honestly. Because the premise of this book is that these two guys who are very religious meets in Jerusalem, and there they sort of build a relationship with each other. One guy, I think, this guy is Moshe, and he is a Jewish person, or he is a Jew, and this is Muhammad, or Mo for short, and as what you might have guessed, he is a Muslim. These two actually met on a plane to Jerusalem. Moshe traveled to Jerusalem because he wants to study the Torah more. And Muhammad, or Mo, went there because his depression is getting the better of him. And his mother actually suggested that, because she read that this one on Google, I guess, that a change of scenery could possibly help him with his depression. So the two met there, and as what I've said a while ago, they built a relationship. And along the way, while they were building their relationship, they have come to know their different cultural backgrounds. And that is one of the highlights of this book. It's that I was taken more deeply than ever into what Judaism and Islam is. Because there are two point of views in this book. One is from the point of Moshe, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, and I'm sorry if I'm not. Anyway, and the second point of view is from Muhammad's, or Mo's. I kept saying Muhammad. I'll just say Mo from this point on. From their points of view, I got to know more about these two differing religions. And I have learned that they both have a common ground when it comes to spirituality and how their religion works. They have these similarities and they have these differences. Also, one of the topics that is tackled in this book is the conflict in Israel. And again, I have to put the trigger warnings here right now that this book also has Islamophobia in it. Oddly, there is Islamophobia in Israel, which I didn't know before I read this book. And there is a topic of depression. I don't know if that will be a trigger warning, but I guess a content warning, because even though Mo is clinically depressed, he doesn't have any suicidal thoughts, actually. One of the biggest questions here, while I was reading the book actually, is would these two guys actually end up together? Because in the middle of the book, they started getting so completely intimate with one another. So while I was reading the book, I was completely anxious and up until the end, because I know that when stories or when novels have, or romance novels like this have intimacy in the middle of the story, I know for a fact that eventually their relationship would fuck up in the end. So that's one of the biggest questions here. Will these guys have a happily ever after with one another? So if you guys want to find out, you have to read the book. I guess I'm going to be rating this book 8 out of 10 stars just because it has this cultural diversity. It gets a bit philosophical at times, but it's not indigestible, if you may. And it talks about important topics such as Islamophobia or just xenophobia in general. Oh, and by finishing reading this book, actually, I have now achieved my reading goal of reading at least 63 books for 2021. However, we're still in September. We're still a few months away from the end of the year. So I have just upped my reading goal by changing my reading goal to 72 books from 63 to 72. So yeah, and that is it for this book review. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this brief book review of A Meeting of Two Prophets. And if you guys have any thoughts about this video, please do put it down in the comment section. And if you'd like, you could also follow me on any of my social media accounts: Book Talk, Book Twitter, and Bookstagram. I almost forgot that one. And they all have the same handle, at Raimskie Reads. Again, this is Raimskie asking you guys to please hunt, discover, and read those queer books. Queer out!